God. It's so churchy and churchy holy, so everyone be churchy and holy because, look, we have to be like them. Stop. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. You want to be like them? Let's examine it and be like them, okay? Let's examine it for what it is and be like them. Stop this religious nonsense. Stop it. It's ridiculous. So anyway, so after Jesus hears their thing and then tells them, look, this kind takes lots of prayer and fasting. And what really happens during prayer and fasting, I mean, realistically, if you hook somebody up to machines, up to technology that meters and monitors and measures, okay, because this culture right here that we live in today is pretty much brainwashed into that. But if you hook them up to these things that meter and monitor and measure, you'd find out that prayer and fasting, in other words, I'm going to put myself in an altered state. But when you fast, and you're fasting in the right kind of thing, you actually can get really spiritualized because you sort of shift. And that's all I really want to say about that, because I'm not here advocating telling you how to live. You live the way you want to. Okay? So anyway, so check it out. Now, after these guys go talk to Jesus, Jesus walks over there. They go over there. And, man, I think I'm mixing up stories. And I was calling this guy a guy. I kind of think, now I'm not sure on this. I'm just telling a story. So, but I kind of think this is a really young person, and it maybe even it's a kid, and there's some parents involved or something. I don't know. It's in the book of Matthew. Look it up for yourselves. I'm telling the story, okay? Anyway, so Jesus goes over there and says, hey, get the hell out of here. Just take off. And whatever this entity is, it leaves. And it was causing some kind of physical maladies. I don't know. You have to look it up. I mean, if you really want the details, you have to look it up. I'm giving you the storyline, and the storyline is about something else, not about this exact story. Okay? So, if you really want to read the story, It's in, I want to say it's in Matthew. Just Google it, man. Just Google it. Because my point with the story is I'm talking about the power and sort of like these are the life and times of what was going on in those days, and these people are using this on a regular daily basis. And this is before ever before that whole thing in the upper room and all of those people were just acting crazy. That's in the book of Acts. So this is long before that. This is when Jesus was teaching them techniques and making them understand God from a different level, and showing them this thing and that thing, and making them understand, look, you're not a lowly worm, and you're not this and you're not that. Look, here's what you are. Now go do some stuff. And they were doing stuff. That's why I'm telling the story, because I want you to see that point. That point is important to the storyline that I'm telling. And the reason it's important is because I'm getting to the basic idea that, hey, we can do a lot more stuff than we think we can. And with good direction and good counsel and technologies, high physics. In this case, this is the kind of technology we're talking about. High physics actually coming from the Christ being. He's teaching them high physics. Here's some high physics for you, kids. Now go out and shift some paradigms. Go shift some paradigms. And they're shifting paradigms. But, now and again they come up against stuff that they can't shift. And I really kind of want to tell a story about the maniac living on the cliffs and the herd of swine that fly off the cliff, and then how the Christ is reasoning with these things that are living inside of this guy, and telling you, listen, whatever these things really are, they reason. But that's sort of off topic. So if that comes up in another section of this, great. If it doesn't, it's probably not meant to be in the storyline. But if you want to look up a story on the maniac guy, the guy the Bible actually calls a maniac, because it's a very interesting story, please do. It's a heck of a read. You know what I mean? It's a heck of a read. So, and oh, by the way, we live in a time, in this time we live in, the 21st century, and it's only going to get worse. We live in a time where people do not like to read because we're overloaded with data, and why bother reading? I understand. I live here too. So, if you don't like to read, you can get those stories from audio. If you bounce around a little bit, you can find it for free. It's the Bible, okay? A lot of people go a long way out of their way to make sure this stuff is available. And even though they're doing it to save you in the name of Jesus, hey, it's available to you. No matter how you want to see it, it's available. But you have to learn to look around, and you have to think for yourself. So get on Google or whatever search engine you like, and you can find these things that you can listen to, so you don't have to sit there and read if you don't like to read. Unfortunately, if you don't like to read, you won't read my books. And on that one, shame, shame, shame. Just kidding. That's a little joke and a plug all at once. Oh, clever. Okay, back to the storyline. Enough foolishness. Back to the storyline and back to talking about the power. Now, I want to show you this. Let's jump forward in the timeline of the power coming from the Christ. Let's jump forward in the timeline now. By now, Christ has already been dead a long time. He floats off the planet with Elijah and Moses. And, you know, all of these people witness it, and it's like, oh my God, it's so freaky, freaky, freaky stuff. Okay, so all that goes on. And what we see from the historical point of view is that, and mind you, let me throw this in before I finish that sentence. At this time, these people are called the followers of the way. They're not yet thought of as Christians. They're called the followers of the way. And they're thought of as a cult group. And that's how they're thought of. So please do keep that in mind. But I want to explain the power, because the power's still alive and well in this time. This is before, you know, the Roman Empire sort of swallowed it up and said, okay, now we're going to establish everything, and we're going to say this has to work like this, and that has to work like that, and this has to work like this, and, you know, here's the policies. Oh, okay, here's the policies. Yes, because we're formulating a church that we're going to say Peter started, which, okay, I understand why you're doing that. It all makes sense to me. However, you're meddling with the pie, and you're completely destroying the pie. You're destroying the power of the pie. And that's what was happening. They were destroying. This time eventually went away. It was still alive and well in certain monasteries and way out in the middle of the desert somewhere where, you know, they didn't have to deal with any Roman Empire religious take. But for the most part, it waned greatly as the Roman Empire took on the religion. The more it waned, as the Roman Empire were doing their empiring and using that as a shield, you know, an icon, part of their icon that they wore. And that's what I mean by shield, not like, okay, here's a shield, that kind of thing. The more it went away. But this stuff is important because this is what was being taught. And I know, we all grew up with the church telling us, well, these miracles weren't important. And this wielding of the power and the Ionian life on this planet to shift the paradigm wasn't important. What's really important is that you are saved, and it goes and it couches itself in the way that we tell you to do it. That's what's really important. All of this stuff isn't really important. Really? Is that because you can't do it? Is that why it's not important? Mr. Priest? Mr. and Mrs. Pastor? Is that why it's not important? Because you can't do it? I mean, come on. Okay? This is the 21st century. This is the time of shim sham flim flam. Even the government itself shim sham flim flams. Okay? It's ripe with shim sham flim flam. Understand this. You know what's not shim sham flim flam? The power that comes from another dimension and into this one to shift a paradigm. Okay? Now, when the thing is really, really, really real, then the salvio thing is going to, salvation, be saved, is going to happen. It's just part of that. It creates a new paradigm. Now, this is where I kind of want to hammer down, and something is telling me to shut up, so I'm going to shut up. So, vaya con Dios, and we'll see you in the next one. Adios. This one's done.